Last time on... Wait, hold on. Hey, get out! I'm trying to record the opening. No, wait, I have a brilliant idea. Yeah, what is it? Whisper. Oh, I like that. I know, right? Alright guys, from the top. Hello YouTube, here, and today I've got something special planned for you. See, I noticed that the last episode was a pretty nice stopping point, continuity shenanigans notwithstanding. So, I decided to take these 2 weeks to compile everything so far into a single video for a smoother watching experience. Hey, it was my idea. Don't listen to him, he's a pathological liar. Anyways, it's worth noting that I can't guarantee I'll keep doing this given some parts might not end as neatly as this time, but only time will tell. Either way, buckle in and perhaps grab some snacks, cause this is a long one. Oh, and for the person who subscribed and the person and or people who left likes, I cannot thank you enough. Your support genuinely means the world to me. I said the world to me. Huh, I guess he's not come. Whoa! The other jokes I had planned were way better. Anywho, what was I doing again? Oh, right, my first not-familiar subscriber and the people liking videos. As thanks for your patronage, I have a special gift for you guys. That's right, it's a shiny nickel! I only have the one though, so you're gonna have to share it. Don't spend it all in one place. But seriously, thank you so much. Well, with all that gratitude stuff out of the way, let's get on with the show. We open the game on a serene boat ride. Our player character, Corvo Latano, has just returned from a mission of some sort. We look around, sit through some exposition, and ride what I attest to being the coolest elevator in video game history, before eventually being stopped by a child who wishes to play hide and seek with me. Apparently this is a tutorial to teach me how to stealth, but I only got a tutorial on how dumb this child is. I mean, I'm in the most obvious spot in the yard and she still can't find me. Anyways, we ascend the stairs to find a bald guy in evil military red getting a portrait painted. Turns out he's the High Overseer. I'm sure he and I will be best buds for the rest of the game. Apparently the painter makes elixirs. I don't know if that'll be important or not, but he seems pretty upset that I went looking for aid, so we'll see. We then proceed out to meet the Queen, the mother of the child, whose name I just remembered was Emily, talking to another bald man, arguing seemingly for the extermination of 6 citizens, which feels like a red flag. The Queen, on the other hand, is very against the idea, so it feels safe to say she's not long for this world. The bald man's about as sinister as it gets. Sunken eyes, sharp cheekbones, a collar that damn near puts his face in eternal shadow. He's for sure a villain, but me and High Overseer What's-His-Face will surely triumph over this guy's inevitable betrayal. It take a minute to see the prompt and another minute to squeeze past the child, but eventually deliver a letter to the Queen. The letter says something about the plague and getting blockaded in, but I'm far more concerned about the Queen blatantly littering in front of her kid. Talk about a shitty role model. The Queen knows the guards get sent away at some point, but all too late, as after a short combat tutorial, the Queen is killed in cold blood, and Emily is teleported away, while I am forced to watch and subsequently take the fall. And can we take a moment to discuss how confusing it is that left click operates my right hand and right click operates my left? I mean, I'm already unused to playing with keyboard control, so I personally don't appreciate the added hurdle. In the Queen's dying breath, she asked me to find and protect Emily, and before I can flee the city forever, clearly Evil Deed from before comes back and blames me for the Queen's death. Good thing my best friend, the High Overseer, will back me up. Right? Right? Hey, what are you doing with that? And so I was locked away and presumably tortured for the murder of the Empress, stricken by the betrayal of my very best friend, the High Overseer. I could barely even work up the willpower to resist, as I was fed stale bread, tortured by the very man I called my dearest friend, and stabbed with a red-hot spoke as the Spy Master and High Overseer exposited about how shitty my situation was.
That's enough for now. Get out. Let's give the man some time to think.
But everything changed, not when the fire initiate attacked, but instead when my lunch was delivered. The guard said it was from a friend, briefly filling me with hope that it was some sort of sign from the High Overseer. But instead, all I found was some bread and the key to my cell. Something that should be a welcome surprise, but I could tell the writing on the note wasn't the High Overseer's, so it seems our friendship, short as it was, is truly at an end. The note told me to escape, and that the friend who sent it needed me for something, and me, not wanting to look a gift horse in the mouth, obliged as my sadness turned to rage at the prospect of being able to kill the High Overseer for his betrayal. So with that, I proceed to stage the most high chaos escape ever. First, I'm immediately noticed by the guards in the next room, murdering them all but sustaining heavy injuries in the process. Lemon Punch reminds me that crouching is an option, which doesn't help much given there aren't any stabbable guards in the vicinity, but it's good to know for later. What I do find though is, well, a bunch of stuff. Tins of whale and fish meat, some elixirs or this game's health potion, a couple guns, and some money, just lying about. Fortunately, all that food I inhaled had healing properties, something that could have been the difference between life and death, as I barely avoid being noticed by two guards who rushed right past me, presumably on their way to find me. Far be it from me to let this idiocy go unpunished. I followed them downstairs to teach them what for, but unfortunately, I too am a dumbass and get spotted, so now it's time to fight. Fortunately, this guard's not very good at it, and I cleave his skull open no problem, and the other disappeared into the ether, so he's no longer my problem. On my way out, I spot some more random shit lying about and held myself to it before continuing my escape. Or at least, I would have if I hadn't needed a key off of one of the guards, and unfortunately, it was the one I didn't already kill. Killing this one did not go as smoothly as the first, and I sustained some damage, but nothing downing another elixir wouldn't fix. Now that I can continue my escape for real, I make my way back to the locked door to find the yard walkway waiting for me. An altogether uninteresting area that led to the slightly more interesting interrogation room. The place where minutes earlier I was tortured and exposited at. Just the sight of it stokes the flames of my rage towards the High Overseer and that other evil dude. I'd like to take this moment to express how sorry I am that you missed Lemon Punch's Oscar-winning performance reading the letter on the desk. It was truly the most moving performance I've ever witnessed. I made my way into the back room to get an explosive out of the safe. As luck would have it, it was the shittiest safe on the market, and I can open it by just turning the massive wheel on it. On my way to the control room hallway, my next objective, I stab one dude in the neck and smack the shit out of the other before killing him to ribbons after he's already dead in an unsuccessful attempt to remove his head. All in all, still the best combat encounter today, and I'm sure it's only up from here. I then move on to the next room, where I tear apart 3 more guards, down a can or two of whale meat, and open the big door ahead of me. After a short fight with 2 guards, I finally make my way to the exit. All I have to do is plant the bomb, tank the explosion like a champ, despite Lemon Punch's efforts to get me to go into the dumpster, and leave the facility, basking in the afternoon sun, before being overrun by like 7 guards coming out to chase me. We open take 2 at the door with the bomb on it, as Lemon Punch ignores his own dumpster advice and scurries into the sewer, ignoring all the guards I bravely attempted to fight like a pussy. But regardless of the cowardice of his strategy, we've got a game to play. We follow the instructions written on another note to find a man named Samuel. We climb over a caged-in section of the sewer and watch 2 guards get eaten alive by a group of rats, bones and all. And those things were voracious. Those men went from clothes to exposed muscle to 2 large bloodstains in a matter of seconds, looking like Lemon Punch at a buffet. Following the horrific consumption of 2 men, we proceed down a hallway to find a dead body and more hungry rats who we hurried around for fear of becoming their next meal after they finished the corpse. A short dip in the filth water later, and we come across a massive wheel with another corpse attached to it. And while Lemon Punch dumped the body, I wondered what transpired to kill this guy in such a specific position. Anyways, turning the wheel revealed a room, which led to another room, but this one containing a couple plague victim corpses and another group of famished rats just dying to feast on our bones. After an honestly embarrassing fumble by Lemon Punch, he successfully baits the rats with a different corpse, and we move on to the next room. It's in this room that after a bit of rope climbing, we find the gift our friend left us. In it, we find some special assassinating equipment made just for us, including a crossbow and a collapsible blade, both perfectly suited for murdering, backstabbing Dick Weasel's life. And so we press onwards, new tools in hand, ready to put them to the test and meet this mysterious Samuel character. Lemon Punch proceeds to execute the most masterfully accidental crossbow snipe before remembering that he's played the game before and flexes with a drop kill, downing 2 guards and drawing first blood with both of our new weapons. He then proceeds to execute another guard with a short-range drop kill, truly and thoroughly showing me how it's done.
Hey.
Shame I'll forget after the next 3 lines of dialogue. Despite his masterful showing just seconds earlier, our shared brain cell switches back to my possession and he wails on one of the dead guard's faces, directing the attention of another. We then waste 2 crossbow bolts and some health taking down this one guy. Slight blunders aside, with that final guard dispatched, all that was left was our victory walk and to finally meet this Samuel fellow.
Over here. Quickly. I'm Samuel.
This is Samuel the Boatman.
And I work for some
We had a running bit in the Lost Audio about how he's actually incredibly powerful and can sweep any of our missions in seconds if he wanted to, but I don't remember anything more specific, so just don't be alarmed if we joke about that next time. So, after risking instant ratification for calling him old, we're finally treated to the mission finish screen, where we find out some stuff we already knew, and things we didn't, like that we somehow missed almost 800 coins in the level. I don't know, is it just me or is that a lot of money to be strewn about a prison and or city sewer? Anyways, Samuel and I arrive at the Hound's Pit Pub, the base of the Resistance. It's a rundown little place on a murky waterfront. Samuel instructs me to meet Admiral Havelock and the Loyalists, as he's the only one who can help me find Emily. Normally, I'd have made a break for it by now, but I can't quit until I've at least killed the High Overseer. Samuel leads me up to a door, and inside I find 2 men speaking. The one in navy Admiral Blue is unsurprisingly Admiral Havelock, and the beanpole next to him is Lord Trevor Pendleton. They explain mostly shit I already knew. They're loyalists who wish to make me kill people for them and restore the throne to its rightful heir.
We're going to help you destroy the men.
At some point they seem to realize that I'm wounded, have massive bags under my eyes, and reek like a city sewer, and tell me I should go rest, but not before instructing me to meet a man named Piero, the man who will be crafting my gear from now on. As soon as I walk in, Mans pulls me into a cutscene to inform me that he'll be making me stuff from now on, before sending me on a minor quest to fetch some whale oil from upstairs, warning me about its high explosivity, something I make a mental note of for future use.
Will you get a new tank from upstairs, please, while I hold this in place? Be careful. The oil's unstable. When it explodes, there's a terrible mess.
Resisting the urge to chuck the whale oil at Piero, I manage to bring it down and plug it in so he can continue working on his project. The project I soon find out is my assassin's mask. A short fitting session later, and my fit is complete. Piero basically tells me to lift anything I find that's not bolted down so it can be sold on the black market and the funds can go towards the building of more gear, something I was already doing and more than happy to indulge further. And quick side note, does this guy look like Show Tucker to anyone else? I can see nothing else and it makes me want to kill him so bad. Aside, it seems Piero finally took a whiff of my rank ass and sends me to bed like everyone else. In a welcome surprise, I was whisked straight there to hopefully take a shower, rest my weary bones, and dream nice dreams.
Sleep well.
Unfortunately, it seems dreams aren't in the cards, as I awake and step outside to an ethereal world and the new objective, meet the outsider. As I ascend to meet him, I can't help taking in the sights. Floating islands and debris, seemingly random small waterfalls, and among the chaos apparates the outsider, looking like Druid from that Marvel movie you didn't see, fresh from a trip to Hot Topic.
Hello, Corvo. Your life has taken a turn, has it not?
He says he called me here because the fate of the Empire is at a turning point, and I'm at the center. For that reason, he blesses me with his mark, claiming that it will allow me access to some of his cool edgelord magic.
In the world and beyond the world, great forces that we call magic. And now,
Next thing I know, I'm thrust into a tutorial to use the first of my snazzy new powers, Blink, which is essentially a short-range teleport. In the middle of said tutorial, I'm treated to a scene of Emily being dragged around by 2 rich-looking dudes. Despite the fact that this is a dreamscape, I'm somehow able to interact with the message she's dropping, basically letting me know that she's sad and wants me to come help her. A plea I'd be happy to ignore if I didn't think I was in too deep with all this revolution stuff. I take a minute to admire the whale floating in the dreamscape before continuing my journey through the rubble, soon finding a frozen scene of the spy master, no doubt further planning his nefarious coup, and another scene of two people being chased by tall machines firing grenade arrows. Turns out things have gotten even more fucked up than I thought since the incident. Finally arriving at the end of the tutorial, the outsider shows up once more to remind me that I'm in deep shit, and to find runes bearing his mark to level up my abilities.
Ancient runes bearing my mark in the lonely places of your world, and at shrines raised in my name.
In order to help me find them better, he also bestows upon me the still beating heart of a living thing with a dial stuck in it. So just your average Tuesday.
With this heart,
I've been sent on another mini tutorial to teach me how the heart works. It will beat and light up when facing bone charms or runes, and apparently whisper to me when used on a target or location, like all magical disembodied hearts should. Shame we don't remember that last fact. I would have liked to know what it said about the High Overseer. That aside, the tutorial is overall uninteresting, but I make it to the end and collect the first of many runes to come, before a screen comes up giving me a preview of some of the abilities I might unlock. My favorites of which including something wind related, something rat related, and the outsider returns to tell me that the way I use my abilities is up to me, and that he'll continue watching with interest. I imagine I'm the most interesting show he's had to watch in a while, so I hope I can give him a good one. Next thing I know, I awake in my bed, still with the outsider's mark on my hand, and surrounded by goodies, assumably left by the outsider, giving some real sugar daddy vibes. Upon collecting my first bone charm, the game lets me know that they give me benefits, and I can use 3 at a time. I don't know if we'll ever end up using them, or continue to forget they exist, but only time will tell. I take a short self-guided tour of the building, stealing anything that looks expensive, eating anything that looks edible, and generally interacting with anything that glows before talking to Havelock in the bar. He gives me a short spiel about how sometimes good people have to do bad things and stuff before finally giving me my target, the one I joined the resistance to kill in the first place, High Overseer Campbell. In my haste to go pop a cap in Campbell's ass, I miss Havelock tell me about a guy the Overseer's captured who he wants me to save.
Give him whatever help you can.
I also run into a woman named Callista outside who wants me to save her uncle, a man who works as captain of the City Watch and is conveniently going to be secretly killed by Campbell tonight.
My uncle, Jeff Kernow, still serves as captain in the City Watch. But he's a good man, and my only family.
Now, finally allowed to leave and with an added rescue mission to my to-do list, Lemon Punch and I don our masks and set out with Samuel to go get revenge on Campbell once and for all. We make landfall at the Distillery District at around half past bleak and take in the sights. Samuel informs us that things kinda suck here. The area's been ravaged by plague and there's lots of City Watch and gang activity, neither of which would be too happy to see my face. Master assassin that I am, I managed to get myself killed near immediately, and the range shift to Lemon Punch, who manages to find the crouch button that continues to elude me, kill a guard, and make it to Granny Rags, a local crazy lady who gives out side quests. After gaining access to Granny Rag's home, we speak to her and find not only is she not all there, but her vision is also shot, so she appears to believe us to be her husband.
My dear husband.
Either way, not long into talking, she receives a knock at the door by people she refers to as gentlemen callers, and asks us to deal with them.
And they're not very polite ones either.
A look through the keyhole reveals 3 gentlemen callers, whom Lemon Punch dispatches, but not without taking a bit of a thrashing. Fortunately, we had elixirs, but you may be starting to see a bit of a pattern with our combat encounters, in that they often end in injury, and as we'll come to understand later, we don't have infinite elixirs. Anyways, with the thugs handled, we return to Granny Rags for our reward. She says she got something from the outsider that she'd like to give to us before reminiscing about parties she and I used to throw or something uninteresting along those lines. We then head downstairs to find a rune on an altar, making 1 of 7 of the level. Upon touching the rune, the outsider shows up to give irrelevant info about Granny Rags and inform us that he's quite the popular deity, as Campbell runs a cult dedicated to hating him, not so subtly encouraging me to do something about them. Putting Campbell on the back burner for the time being, Lemon Punch makes his way into another part of town where 2 guys guard a boarded up door. He wastes an explosive dart we didn't realize we had before blink dashing around the guy until he could pull off a stealth kill. He breaks the boards, barring the room the goons were blocking, to reveal a man named Griff. Apparently he runs a shop, and as thanks for us saving his life, we're allowed to buy shit from him. Yay? Lemon Punch spends some time inspecting balconies and ledges, pilfering a couple things along the way, but ultimately falling to an untimely death from a botched jump. Now the controls are back in my hands, and the first thing I do, like with Lemon Punch's instruction, is go back to Granny Rag's house to pick up another rune just sitting in her attic. Upon taking the rune this time, Granny Rags jump scares us from behind and tells us that the rune was her gift for dealing with the gentleman callers, meaning that I was wrong before and the one in her basement was just there, I guess. Anyways, after receiving our gift, Granny Rags sends us on another side quest. This time, she wants us to go steal plague-ridden rat guts from her doctor's mansion and use them to poison the bootleg elixirs that the Bottle Street gang are making.
Doctor, dear. Dr. Galvani. Now there was a clever man.
With that, we make our way, well, somewhere. I really didn't know where the hell I was going and ended up wandering into an area with hostile guards. It was here that I got into a scrap with one, attracting even more guards who overwhelmed and killed me. The control is now back in Lemon Punch's hands. He takes to the high roads, redeeming himself for his previous botched jump and making his way into the distillery area for a bit of shitty parkour. So, control switching hands once again, and with zero clue why we're even there, I decide it's my mission to show up Lemon Punch as much as possible, and rely on his prior experience to eventually guide us to the goal. To that end, I make my way up the pipe that Lemon Punch failed to cross moments earlier, and all the way to the door of the distillery, before remembering that I have zero clue where to go and getting annihilated by the gang members. So, back to Lemon Punch, he makes his way through the door I somehow missed with ease, and into the distillery. Here, he sneaks his way through and into the back room, murdering a guy and getting all the way to the place where he would put the rat guts, if we had them yet. So, finally remembering the order of objectives, Lemon Punch makes his way down a hall to leave the distillery, but a surprise trap alerts the gang members that were there, and he's very handily dealt with. Unfortunately for me, the game saved while we were inside the back rooms, and as we've learned, when it comes to this game, I'm even worse than Lemon Punch. So I make the same mistake he did, tripping the alarm and prompting more guards to come in. In response to this, I retreat back into the room to await my fate, but to our surprise, nobody comes for us. Stealthing harder than I've ever stealthed in my life, I inch forward to find that the guard that came in was just looking around the door and in clear line of sight for a well-placed sleep dart, knocking him out and clearing my path to freedom. Getting a little cocky, I repeat yet another mistake one of us made earlier and hit a body that's already on the ground, attracting the attention of another guard, but acting fast, I knock this one out too, and even move his body to avoid it being spotted. High off that win and seeing no other gang members around, I make for the exit, completely forgetting about the trap that Lemon Punch so deftly maneuvered over before, bringing the attention of the remaining guards to me and sealing my fate. Sparing you the gruesome details, I died, and we were back in the room that I had flawlessly escaped from just moments prior, and Lemon Punch, learning from our mistakes, decides to take the stairs this time. Funnily enough, despite taking the easy way out and taking immediately to the ceiling pipes, he was quickly spotted and now had to scramble for a way out. Fortunately for him, his assailants weren't so smart, and instead of climbing into the room to fight him directly, just threw infinite firebombs as close as they could get, giving him plenty of time to think. And think he did. Think so long, in fact, that the guys trying desperately to kill him forgot he existed and gave up, giving Lemon Punch the opportunity he needed to get right down there with them and get shot by the door trap in his haste to escape. So, at this point you're probably thinking, well, they've seen all the dumb ways to die, so surely this time will be the one, right? Well, as much as I hope for a fake out, the footage doesn't lie. Despite trying to blink past the trap, because I'm an idiot and never considered interacting with the trap itself, it went off. To be fair though, I made a fair way into the courtyard before getting stuck on a guy and getting a fireball straight to the face. And while I'm on the topic of fireballs, how the fuck are they doing that? They just take a swig of their drinks and somehow spit out a whole ass inferno. Like, I know you can spit alcohol into fire to make the effect, but nowhere do I see these men holding matches or lighters. It's just a biological function, I guess. And here I am, sneaking around with darts and shit. Give me some of what they're having. Fireball tangent aside, Lemon Punch takes the wheel, and he's done with the shenaniganery, so we'll go through this quick. He went up the stairs, took to the rafters, made it 2 and disarmed the trap and left at the front door. Yes, it was that easy. Outside, he makes his way along the pipes we used to get in and was out without an issue. We could stop to talk about how he fell off the pipe in the home stretch, taking a chunk of damage and nearly getting caught, but honestly, it's not even worth mentioning. I'm just glad we're finally out of that hellhole. Back outside on Bottle Street, he makes his way towards our actual current objective, Dr. Galvani's office, where we can procure the rat guts necessary to poison the distillery like we were told to do. Lemon Punch makes his way to the doctor's quickly and immediately takes to murdering 3 of his guards and a maid as collateral. As you may recall, I said elixirs would soon become a bit of a commodity, and after the last encounter, we were really hurting. But he pushed on nonetheless, wasting a dart on a rat before making his way upstairs to find our objective just out of reach behind our only weakness, a mostly glass door. As Lemon Punch thinks on how to get into the good doctor's lab, he remembers that we had 3 runes and can thus upgrade our powers. And after some deliberation, we decide on extra vitality, because we're tired of being on death's door all the time, and yes, I'm going to do that every time. With the upgrading taken care of, Lemon Punch makes his way downstairs to discover that the key we needed was on the dead maid all along. Of course, doing things the right way is for squares, so, safe with the key in hand, Lemon Punch goes back upstairs and uses a grenade to blast in a door at the end of the hall that led around to the lab. Fortunately, there was nobody left alive in the building to hear the explosion besides rats, so he makes his way in, opens the secret bookshelf door, and collects his prize. After admiring the rat corpse for entirely too long and pillaging some stuff from the lab, we at last make our way out of Galvani's house and onto his balcony overlooking Clover Street, where we test our new ability and plummet to our deaths for a reason only the audio could have clarified. Take 2 on Galvani's balcony. I switch to Blink, take a bit of damage on the spiked fence below, but in the end successfully make it to the ground in one piece. That is, before wandering about and stumbling into a bunch of rats ready to avenge the one whose diseased pancreas was in my possession. Barely escaping that with my life, I approach one of the City Watch's newfangled shot gates, guaranteed to cook your trespassers well done or your money back, and blow the whale oil powering it before getting fucked up by some guards and making a series of desperate blinks past them to the closest exit door, this one leading to Holger Square. It's here that I nurse my wounds, realize that I'm heading towards the Overseer, and turn back, because there's no way we're going to do all that work for Granny Rags and not get our reward. So back out to the Distillery District I go, but this time we're going ninja mode. As soon as I load in, the guards that were previously chasing me were still where they were prior, and I steeled myself for death. But to my surprise, they turned around and returned to their posts, completing part 1 of the ninja stealth plan, not get killed immediately. The rest was fairly easy. First, crouch. As everyone knows, crouching is the very first thing they teach in ninja school. Next, nearly get spotted, but masterfully distract the guard and blink around him. And finally, after a bit of confusion, be home free and on our way back to the dreaded distillery. Determined to let this be the last time, I started things off just like we always had. Up the pipes, around the building, down the water tower pipes, and... So, as I was saying, Lemon Punch made his way up the pipes around the building, onto the water tower pipes, and through the door with ease. As you may recall, the trap from before had already been disarmed, so he walked straight past and onto the chain leading to the rafters, across the pipes, and into the back room where we can finally put an end to this cursed side quest once and for all. Or at least, that's what we hoped, but a surprise goon put an end to that dream swiftly and brutally. Take who gives a shit anymore, I do the things. You get the gist by now. We've run this course so many times we could do it blindfolded with both hands behind our back. Suffice to say, I made it to the back room, killed this motherfucker, and made my way to the elixir still. It's somewhere around here that Lemon Punch reminds me that even though the elixirs are bootleg, they still work. Good news for 2 bumbling idiots who constantly don't have elixirs when they need them. So, I hook up the empty elixir vial and fill it up, securing yet another elixir for our crippling addiction. Finally, I poison the still and admire my work before finally hearing the sounds of violence behind me and discovering one of the goons pelting the indestructible iron door with firebombs in a valiant but vain attempt to kill me. And boy was he trying. Bomb after bomb he threw to zero avail, though perhaps I'm at fault a little bit. I did get close enough to take a bit of damage, which might have emboldened him. After watching this guy empty his bag of holding on the door for a full minute, I finally decided to let the man rest, putting a dart between his eyes and ending the heroic tale of Firebomb Guard F. He died as he lived, being a dumbass. With the little idiot who couldn't dealt with, it was time to make my escape. Is what I would have said if I didn't near immediately get spotted and have my face melted off like that one Nazi.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I always leave it to Lemon Punch to succeed where I fail. He poisons the well just as Granny Rags ordered and inspires Firebomb Guard F to his calling once more.
Here you are. Come on.
But we're both pretty tired of this place at this point, so he shoots Firebomb Guard and equips sleep darts to handle the rest. An idea that succeeds in keeping us alive, but did result in the use of the elixir we literally just made. Addiction's a hell of a disease, isn't it? Well, cutting our losses, Lemon Punch descends from the distillery basement victorious and simply walks across the room to the exit as all the guards were either dead or asleep downstairs in the basement. As for how things went after that, it should be self-explanatory. He ran the course just like we had a million times before and returned to Granny Rags for our reward, the third of 7 runes in the level.
I knew you wouldn't disappoint me.
Now, finally, with 47 minutes of gameplay remaining, we finally make our way to High Overseer Campbell's mansion to deliver unto him my glorious vengeance. Skipping past a boring trek to Campbell's mansion, Lemon Punch stealth kills a guy and rescues Martin, the guy I forgot Havelock told us to rescue, who tells us to do some stuff we were already gonna do, and presumably making his way to Samuel. Lemon Punch presses on into the weird street between Campbell's mansion and Holger Square, taking a quick detour to kill some guards, but tragically falling to his death, though showing me a sneaky way into the mansion. Back with Martin, I do my best to follow the path that Lemon Punch carved, using most of my dart ammo to clear the guards, and after longer than I care to admit trying to follow Lemon Punch's instructions, we finally make it onto the ledge and into Campbell's compound. I duck through a window and into the adjacent room to find an interrogation room. I'm aware that this room can be used for an alternate fate worse than death thing for Campbell, but honestly, I'm not even going to pretend. We didn't even think about carting his ass all the way here. Well, Lemon Punch might have, but any plans we had fell through quickly because, well, you'll find out soon enough. Speeding things along, I came, I pilfered, I died. The reign's now in Lemon Punch's hands. He makes his way around the ledge and directly into the meeting chamber where Campbell was scheduled to murder the City Watch captain. Lemon Punch makes his way to the glasses of wine, one slightly more poisoned than the other. It's here that I thought the correct answer was to switch the glasses for a clean kill and letting What's-Her-Face's uncle go, but it seems Lemon Punch had different plans, instead spilling the drinks and hiding on top of a very tall filing cabinet. Campbell spends a minute fumbling with his keys, but he eventually makes it into the room where Lemon Punch hid and waiting.
I have the wrong one.
Upon seeing the wine, Campbell has a bit of a Freudian slip
I'm to do this the hard way.
before going to leave the room.
Never mind.
And this is where it all falls apart. First, Lemon Punch is somehow seen despite the lack of obvious sight lines, prompting Campbell to make a break for his panic room. We're both very confused by this turn of events. Lemon Punch because he's likely done this before, and me because I believed in him. Either way, Lemon Punch gives chase, but is predictably cornered and killed. Controls back in my hands, and fresh with a new minor thing to show Lemon Punch up at, I too spill the glasses, curious to know where this goes. So, Campbell does his key spiel, notices the glasses, fully outs himself to his poor idiotic victim, and now it's go time.
What was that, Campbell?
I succeed in staggering my movement so not to be seen the same way Lemon Punch was, but in an all too familiar move, I missed a notice warning and audio cues on my way down the stairs and get into a bit of a scrap. A scrap I actually win, mind you, until the third guy sneaks up on it. So, take fuck you and the horse you rode in on, Lemon Punch, likely due to prodding from me, opts to switch the glasses instead. The certifiably lamer kill, but we've been playing for over 3 hours, and there's only so much of the same mission one can take back to back. And so the time arrives, except this time, Lemon Punch decides to take to the hanging light as his perch. one that got him spotted very quickly and prompts Campbell to run yet again. Lemon Punch gives chase. He alerts literally all the guards, a head rolls, and it's back to me. Fourth time's the charm, as I always say, or perhaps I would if this try didn't end even worse than the others. As Campbell and Captain Moron settle in front of the wine, I drop kill Campbell's ass and proceed to walk about in a daze, as I not only forgot which key was run, but the captain nails me from across the room with his gun, decimating my health, and worst of all, I have zero clue where the nearest open window is. So, as you might be able to guess, this one didn't quite pan out. It's worth noting that Lemon Punch had quite a laugh at this one, as he watched and said nothing, knowing full well the window I was looking for that we came in through was in the very same room. Well, take shut the fuck up, and it seems Lemon Punch has a new plan, spilling the drinks and taking to his perch with a single sleep dart in hand. First, he shoots Captain Dumbfuck with a sleep dart and then gives chase to the running Campbell. Pulling some fancy footwork to get around the guard and taking a mystery gunshot, but successfully making it to Campbell's panic room and killing him. Looting everything down there and making his way back upstairs to the meeting room and out the window with Campbell's body in hand. Our anger towards Campbell boiling over, we almost decide to throw him over the edge and be done with it, but catch him by the toe just before he goes over, knowing that we can craft an even worse nah, I can't do it. Alright, listen. The whole Campbell betrayal storyline was thought of in post to give a narrative to the Audulus recording, but I kinda lost it somewhere in the hour and a half plus of Granny Rag side quests, and I honestly have no idea how to salvage things, so we'll just drop it. Cool? Cool. So, barely carrying Campbell with our broken body, Lemon Punch drags him to the edge of the building and throws him down onto the streets below in hopes of catching a guard off guard. But it doesn't quite work out, as Corvo doesn't have much of a throwing arm, though it might be all the internal bleeding slowing him down. Either way, we waste some ammo trying to get the guard to notice him before noticing ourselves as several guards have noticed us. And in an absolutely stunning display of, well, something, Lemon Punch attempts to fall and kill just slightly off the mark, and our broken body collapses into a pile of meat and viscera in front of the guard, who doesn't even give us the time of day, no doubt cracking up under his mask. Given we successfully escaped the compound before, I wasn't entirely sure where the game would restart us, and to our horror, it's at the table in front of the poisoned glasses for the millionth time. Well, determined to make this our last time here, I concoct what I believe to be a foolproof plan, starting with switching the glasses and taking to the cabinet to hide. Taking a cue from one of Lemon Punch's better ideas, I arm myself with a sleep dart and wait patiently. After a full minute, they finally make it to the tray, and another nearly 50 seconds for Campbell to start dying, and asking Captain Asswipe to burn his book, but unfortunately, my sights are already trained, and like that, they're both down for the count. Campbell by his own poison wine, and the captain sleeping like a baby. And even better, not a peep made from either. This was truly a stunningly flawless and totally silent murder/uncle rescue. Safe in the knowledge that I did the mission amazingly, I snuck out the window I came in through, strolled across the building ledge, and made my way safely down to a door barring me from my objective, Samuel the boatman. Through the door, I find a gang of guards accosting a pair with accusations that the woman is a witch. After what I assume was a quick call to action from Lemon Punch, I enter the fray, cutting down one guy close to me and blinking in to get the next guy, though tragically not before he fells the man whom I'm told was named Bertold. But, because we didn't have audio, I didn't hear the woman cry and run off, so in the moment fully thought the two stood me up. Anywho, with Campbell and Bertold's lives under my belt, I make my way to Samuel. Making my way past the guard and using a backyard gate key, I start running about, assuming that I was home free. That assumption was swiftly proven very wrong when I checked the video and revealed there were still 15 minutes left. I run past the guard and their dog, taking a bite to the ass, but coming to the conclusion that I was in too deep, I continued to sprint towards the objective marker. I somehow managed to avoid being shot or maimed as I rushed through the area, eventually making it to a ledge overlooking the beach. Fortunately, the wall here has a foothold that I could blink to, putting me well out of reach of the guards and their dogs. Coming out the other side, I quickly scanned for more guards before finding a chain that led directly down to the waiting Samuel. Samuel shares some wisdom about how religious people should be poor, I guess, before asking if we're ready to leave.
To say, but men of the faith should live like barons.
Of course, I said yes, and I'm sure Lemon Punch agreed. We'd seen enough of the distillery district for a lifetime, and now that the main objective was done, I'll be happy if I never see this place again. The mission finish screen continued to tell us the obvious, and continued to surprise with the amount of coins we missed, but all in all, I'm happy enough with our performance. We arrived back at the Hound's Pit, and Samuel informs us that Havelock and Pendleton were waiting for us outside.
In the courtyard. I expect I'll want to congratulate you.
Callista was also waiting for us right at the dock, and I was very excited to be congratulated for saving her dumbass uncle and whatnot, but my excitement soon turned to confusion as Callista tells me that her uncle never came back from the meeting. I still actually have no idea what went wrong, but there's no time to be sad about it as Lemon Punch tells me about a cool thing we can do. He instructs me to kill Callista, and inexperienced fool that I am, I figured it wouldn't matter much cause she's just an NPC. Well, turns out it does, and soon after I get a game over cause the Loyalist conspiracy was dissolved. I guess Callista was the real brains behind the operation, and without her, everything fell apart. Now just having fun, Lemon Punch blows Callista up with a grenade and tries to go for Samuel, but doesn't make it in time. Then dissolves the Loyalists again by grenading Samuel and shooting Callista in the face as she tries to talk about her uncle again. Now done goofing around, we make our way up to talk to Havelock and Pendleton. Havelock tells me that I done good, basically, and that with Martin back in Campbell's journal, hopefully we'll get some clues to finding Emily.
And with Martin back, we'll have the finest strategist alive.
All in all, mostly stuff I expected. What I didn't expect was for him to pull out a gun mid-sentence. As you can see in the video, I was panicked, but fortunately he just wanted to punctuate his point by shooting some bottles that I assume he set up specifically for this conversation. They then go on to say something about the Lord Regent planning to unveil Emily soon, and something about infighting between the nobles before firing a couple more shots for good measure before giving me permission to rest.
Yes, time is against us. But now you should take a well-earned rest, Corporal.
Hiya folks, we interrupt your regularly scheduled Dishonored to bring you some breaking news. It appears someone made a bit of an oopsie whoopsie fucky wucky and forgot to record an entire play session. Not naming any names, but my money's on the guy who opened the video. He's been slacking off for a while now, so I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, I was forced to pick up the slack and play through the entire game up to where we left off by myself. While the task was ultimately completed, there were a couple minor changes to the continuity that we'll be going over now. In the meantime, I'm going to find the jerk who caused all this and give him a piece of my mind. So let's try and be quick about this. We're back on the Serene boat ride from the first episode, and while I know we're trying to be quick here, I feel compelled to bring attention to Kurnow in this moment. I feel like this singular scene speaks volumes about his character. Anyways, I refuse to play hide and seek with Emily and make my way quickly up to the Queen. Well, kinda. I take the time to dick around since, I could, but that's not important for the purposes of this rundown. Skipping ahead a bit, a coup happens, I take the fall, yada yada. The prison break goes mostly the same, except way better. Most notably due to the invention of the crouch button. It's worth noting that I was far more thorough in this playthrough than the last time, specifically when it came to money. You'll see the results of my effort when we get to the mission finish screen. Nothing really of note happens here, and we make our way into the sewers quickly. Similarly to the prison break, the sewer is exactly the same as the first time, except significantly better. The first point of interest comes after I find my assassin's equipment, as there's a safe down here in the sewers with a note on it telling me to look to whiskey for the answer. Well, after 13 whole painstaking minutes, I did not find the answer to the safe. All things considered, I likely would have looked longer if I had not accidentally fallen into the next area. Comparatively, the rest of the sewer was a breeze. I killed everybody in the section, explored the area, found some interesting stuff, and in the end, made my way to my friend and yours, Samuel the Boatman. And finally, the first mission finish screen. As you can see, I found a lot more moolah this time around, and found a special action, but I took care to make sure the chaos stayed nice and high. That part of the continuity had to stay the same. All in all, though, I'd say this was a pretty successful run, and shows that Lemon Punch is really only slowing me down. Still pissed about the safe, though. Our time at the Hound's Pit went basically the same as last time, the only real difference lying in the amount of stuff I pilfer. Oh, but remember my feelings on Piro kinda looking like Tucker from FMA? Well, I guess I just lost my temper, because I bashed his head in pretty good with the empty oil tank.
Terrible mess.
On the bright side, he didn't seem too overly bothered. You know, until he died.
I speculated this might happen.
Oh my god!
My time in the dreamscape went about the same as well, minus a couple pickups I missed the first time. I also gave my snazzy new disembodied heart a couple squeezes to see what it had to say about the dreamscape. Turned out, it had a fair amount of juicy lore to deliver.
And the beginning.
From here, everything remains practically identical to the first go-around, minus perhaps the purchasing of a rune while grabbing items from Piro, and a short swim from the Hound's Pit. Runes are the biggest overall shift in continuity, as I decided I'd pick up ones we didn't have before should I be going that direction to help in the coming missions. And boy did we need it. Breaking the trend set by the last two missions, this one went way better than the first time. Obviously I make a beeline for Granny Rags, and quickly take care of the gentleman callers, and got my rewards before rescuing Griff and heading to the good Dr. Galvani's house. Galvani's house went quite a bit differently from last time, due in no small part to my efforts to explore. It's crazy the amount of stuff you find lying about when you look for it. By the way, did you know river crusts are vulnerable when they open their shells to spit acid at you? I didn't, but I do now, and look forward to when that information becomes relevant. That aside, it was a quick in and out job getting the pancreas. The last thing of note here at Galvani's was a safe in one of the rooms that I tragically never figured out how to open, and both this and the safe from earlier continued to weigh on my soul. The Battle Street Gang Distillery, of course, was a cakewalk. It'd be frankly embarrassing if I wasn't in and out in seconds. It's also around this point that I gave myself the upgrades we had around this point in the first run, but despite having runes left over, did not purchase anything else, fulfilling one half of the continuity I wanted to preserve. Also, I know what you guys want, and no, unfortunately, I was not able to inspire Firebomb Guard Aft to his destiny this time. If I remember correctly, it was around 2-something in the morning by this point, and honestly, there's just not enough time in the, well, night. Oh, and remember how I said it'd be embarrassing if this wasn't an in-out job? Well, it almost wasn't. But, fortunately, I'm kind of the best at video games, so we made it out with just a scratch.
'Tis but a scratch.
With that, I return to Granny, collect my prize, and make my way towards our final stop of the night, the High Overseer's office. I free Martin, do some murder, and quickly make my way into the Overseer's office the very same way as last time, determined to kill Campbell rather than go for the brand, but this time making sure to let him get to his panic room since I know there's a rune and lots of expensive goodies down there. The way I went about this was spilling the glasses and trying to make it to the panic room to lie in wait, but forgetting I can't actually get in without him opening it first. This works to my advantage though, as while I try to backtrack I run into Campbell himself, who ditches Kurnow in such a way that he never sees me and assumedly goes back to his post. Additionally, Campbell rushes straight past me to his panic room and opens it up while I'm still in the room, before turning to face me for our final confrontation. Mission failed successfully? Either way, with Kurnow rescued and Campbell killed, all that was left was to grab all my loot out of the panic room and make my way back to the window and out into the night. Now we find ourselves at the part of the playthrough that deviated the most from the first run, starting with taking active care not to kill Bertold this time. What can I say? Hindsight's 20/20. Well, what I didn't expect was to learn of a safe in an area called the Bunkhouse, and for once, I actually had the combination. Fueled by a desire to right the wrongs of the past, I set out to find the safe. The search ultimately included a lot of murder and mutant doggo nap times, but TLDR, I found a rune, an object called a music box that'll soon be the bane of my existence, the aforementioned safe, and a rogue overseer shut away in a supply depot holding on to a bone charm for me. How nice of them. Anyways, after that, I was finally done in the decidedly less dreaded distillery this time around, and made my way back to Samuel, after which we shoved off back to the Hound's Pit. Here's the mission finish screen, and you know, I think I did a pretty bang-up job. The chaos was high, and all the objectives and special actions taken last time were taken, so the continuity has successfully been maintained. There were a few minor differences here and there, but overall, I'm happy, and the next mission looks the same as it should, and that's all that matters. I stopped by Callista on my way in to give her the good news and retrieve her mildly valuable heirloom before making my way to Halflock, and, well, you know how that conversation went. Lemon Punch and I infiltrate the Golden Cap brothel to assassinate Trevor's brothers, Asshat and Fuckwit Pendleton, and rescue the Queen's daughter, Emily. As if that wasn't enough, we also have to stop by Cauldron's Bridge to find and capture the royal physician, Anton Stolikov. Along the way, there will be good times, not so great times, and lots of deaths. So get ready, folks, because this train's only just got moving, and there's no stopping it now. All that said, I'll be looking for you next time on the best Dishonored playthrough of all time.